What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/mi the butthole. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really does help out our channel. And also we're on podcast now too, so you can take me with you wherever you go. And if you really want to be super awesome, you can support the channel by clicking that join button below and joining either YouTube membership or Patreon. A huge thank you to each and every member out there right now. You're truly appreciated. And with that being said, let's jump in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Maintenance Pretty. Am I the arsehole for punishing my daughter for what she said to my friend? My best friend Jane has been staying with us for a few days while her husband is out of town, just because it's more fun this way. I have a 15-year-old daughter Hannah, who is for the most part a great kid, though she has a normal teenage attitude. Hannah has never liked Jane because she thinks I'm embarrassing when I'm around her. Jane has made some unconventional choices. Her husband is 25 years older than her and she married him for money. I'm not judging, but I was the maid of honour and she literally did marry him for his money. She hated him for the first year and then they became friends. And now I do think they love each other, but Jane isn't shy about the fact she married him for his money. I do see how this could be viewed as prostitution, but I'm all for legalising prostitution. Jane and I have probably been a little annoying these past few days, but I'm a good mother. I deserve 3 days to act stupid. Well, Hannah is getting increasingly interested in social issues, and she overheard Jane and I laughing about how a year ago we were in Vegas when some guy was chanting for us to flash him, and I did. Hannah jumped in about how bad that was and how I'm contributing to a problem. I don't agree, but I usually just let her go on. Jane defended me, though she wasn't rude or anything, and Hannah said Jane couldn't understand because you don't mind selling yourself. Now, it's not completely non-factual, but it's also completely inappropriate, so I grounded her. Hannah feels like I'm treating her like her dad does. He has no patience to talk about politics or social issues, and I don't really like disciplining, but that was just so disrespectful. So am I the arsehole when it was kind of technically true? We're going to read this comment from Passionately Rational. You're the arsehole. You have a morally questionable person over and enjoy laughing at morally questionable things around the house in front of your daughter for 3 days, and you think she's the one being disrespectful. Why? Let me guess, because she's younger. The respect your elders bullcrap. Well, Hannah is absolutely right in all her assessment of your friend and you. I'm quite happy somehow, somewhere, she's getting the right kind of education and is being exposed to good values. It is rather sad she cannot find intellectual stimulation with any of her parents. You get to do whatever the hell you want, but being a good mother is about exposing your kids to moral principles. So yeah, laughing at having flashed your breast to some stranger in front of your daughter isn't being a good mother. Allowing a woman who openly says she married a guy she hated for his money to be around your kid isn't being a good mother. Is that what you want her to be like? To think that exposing her body to some random idiot that asks for it is totally okay? To think marriage is just a mean to get a better financial position, even though if you hate the person you marry? I can't. You're the arsehole. And I think all the points that Passionately Rational brought up there was totally true. I don't even think I could bring myself to go to a wedding if I knew a friend was just marrying someone for money. I'd feel so bad for that other person, you know. Wow. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote on the poll in the description for story 1. Our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for ruining my kid's life after she ruined the dress? X31 and I, male 32, had C, female 16, way too young. We're friendly co-parents. One rule we share is if our daughter breaks something, she pays for it. Now sis 27 and I are the only grandkids. Aunt never married. Instead, she worked with grandma and grandpa at their seamstress store and took it over when they retired. Sis's girlfriend 29 proposed last year. Grandpa offered to make future sister-in-law a custom suit, which she was over the moon about. Grandma had me ask Sis what a dream dress was and record the convo. Sis, thinking it was just between us, told me in great detail what a dream dress was, though said it was way too expensive, she would get something much cheaper. Well, a few months later, Grandma surprised Sis with her dream wedding dress. It fit perfectly and everyone cried. Sadly, Grandma recently passed away, which hit us all hard. Sis was devastated, but decided that the dress meant Grandma would still be there with us at the wedding. The issue comes in with C. She's very large, much larger than Sis. 3 days ago, we decided to go visit Sis and see how she was doing. It was great, but then C asked if she could try on the dress. Sis politely said no. C made a face, but dropped it. Later, we decided to go grab dinner. Sis and I went to pick up our orders, but C decided to stay and play along with Sis's dog. We got back and the dress was destroyed. C apparently had tried to get it on, popping some seams and got stuck. Instead of waiting for help, she cut her way out. The dress was hacked to bits. Sis was devastated and asked us to leave. I grounded C and called Aunt with some pictures, asking if it could be saved. She said there was no way. She said she'd make a new one, but it wasn't the same. Then she dropped the bomb on me. Grandma had hand sewn most of the dress, used super expensive fabric, and put almost 500 hours into making the dress, since it was the only family wedding we'd have. In total, the dress cost $12,000, give or take. C has about $15,000 saved from various jobs, as well as winning writing competitions. This was supposed to help her in college. I took her to the bank and set in motion transferring all the funds, since as her parent I still have control over it. $12k to Aunt to pay for the new dress, $3k to my sister's wedding as an emotional distress tax. I explained exactly why this was happening to C, but she sobbed the entire time, asking me what she was supposed to do for college and saying it wasn't her fault. I told her she should get a job if she didn't get a scholarship, and it was her fault for trying on the dress after she'd been told no, and after not waiting until we got back. A few pop seams could have been fixed, hacking the dress to pieces couldn't. C told my ex, and while she agreed C was in the wrong after the full story, said I shouldn't have ruined her future for a free dress. I reminded her of our rule, and she still thinks I'm wrong. So, am I the arsehole here? Edit, since people are mentioning they don't understand the 3k, that was to make up to my sister that C destroyed the last gift our dead grandma gave her. I consider that part of the price of destroying the dress, since even if Aunt remakes it, it's lost a great deal of sentimental value. I pointed out how young we had her, and I wanted to explain how a 31-year-old has a 16-year-old kid. I do not resent having her, she's the best thing I've ever done. I also brought up C's size because Sis has Crohn's disease, and thus is very tiny. The dress was made for her size, and C is much larger than Sis. I love C as she is, but just holding the dress up, it was clear it wouldn't fit. Edit 2, to clarify, the money was C's, have fun at college money, not her college fund. My ex and I are paying for whatever scholarships don't. When she was asking what she would do for college, she was asking what she'd do for fun and to buy things we didn't pay for. Again, the character count is very limiting, so I had to cut details to post. Our first comment comes from fucking Bailey. Not the arsehole, absolutely not. She ruined her own future. In my mind, that dress wasn't $12,000 or even $15,000, it was priceless. It could have and should have been passed down for generations. I'm horrified your daughter did such a thing. Most kids don't go to college with savings, so she's going to have to tough it out. Hope she looks back one day and realises the payment she made was severely short. I'm so sorry this happened to your family. The next poster says, agree, it sounds like OP's family are just gracious, generous people. I wouldn't blame any bride who demands compensation for a ruined wedding dress, let alone one that was custom made by a now deceased family member. OP, you didn't ruin your daughter's future. 15k doesn't go that far in college. She's young and she'll make back that money again. Edit, I just reread this, it sounds like your daughter doesn't think she did anything wrong. To which the OP replies, my sister didn't even demand anything. This is the rule and I decided to uphold it. She just thought the dress was a loss. And finally, a wholesome person says, Amber Wash this is, hey OP, since the original dress was hacked but meant so much, hit me up. I have been sewing for over a decade, 13 years, and would love to turn some of the shreds into something lovely for your sister. She may not have the dress, but she could have something like a hairpiece made from it. And what a lovely offer from a fellow Redditor. And it's one of the main reasons we love Reddit, right? But I think the OP did exactly the right thing in this. She was told not to wear the dress, she went and did it, and I think you got to pay the price for that and learn a life lesson at the same time. But what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on the poll in the description for story 2. Our next story comes from GymNerd813. I'm a 19-year-old female with 6 older siblings. My parents spent most of my childhood spending money they didn't have on my siblings, so by the time I hit my teenage years, I realised I was probably going to have to fend for myself financially when I turned 18. I started babysitting and doing odd jobs around my neighbourhood when I was 14, and eventually got part-time jobs during the school year. By the time I was 16, I was working 3 jobs in the summer and 2 in addition to school. When my parents told me they couldn't pay for college, I'd already earned enough, along with scholarships, to be able to put myself through college and have plenty left over. I've continued to work during the school year, and I've been able to make money during quarantine by tutoring online. The issue began a few months ago when my eldest sister, 29 female, got married. My parents spent 30 grand on her wedding, taking out a second mortgage to do so. To make matters worse, my dad was furloughed 6 days after the wedding. They'd effectively dug themselves into a hole they couldn't get out of. 2 weeks ago, my mum texted me for the first time since the wedding. She didn't say hi, ask how I was, or make any small talk. She just said, your dad and I need a favour. When can we call you? I'd expected this. None of my elder siblings were doing well financially. They've exhausted all other loan options, both from family and the bank. I figured they would text me, ask me to loan them a few thousand, and promise to pay it back when they could figure things out. I was absolutely willing to pitch in a few thousand, and had even considered giving them some of my tutoring jobs so they can make some extra cash. I was not, however, expecting them to demand I give them all the money, close to 40,000, I'd made from the ages of 14 to 18. The exact statement my mum had made was, "You made that money under our roof, we're the ones allowed you to work, so you only have it because of us anyway. We bought you food and clothes for 18 years. That money is only a fraction of what you owe us," and so on. I said that food, clothes and shelter were the very minimum. It's what they signed up for when they chose to become parents. I didn't ask for any of it, etc. They responded by telling me that if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have the life I have today. I said they were being ridiculous and hung up. Since that day, both, along with my two siblings, have continuously hounded me about giving them what is rightfully theirs. My siblings have never been asked to give them money, are still professing that it's my job as their kid to take care of them. I told them they wouldn't see a cent of my hard-earned money, and have no right to make such a request. I'm torn. I feel awful for refusing to help them out, but on the other hand, this was their fault. I feel I shouldn't be responsible for fixing their mess. Am I the arsehole? You know, I'm very much a family guy. Sounds much like OP. He was going to lend them a few thousand. I would have probably done the same until their attitude came about of what's rightfully theirs. What entitlement is that, man? That would send me over the edge, and I'd say exactly the same as OP is saying, that they wouldn't be getting a penny off of me. Or a cent. So I got to say in this one, not the arsehole. But let's have a look in the comments below. Beat Meeting says, not the arsehole. Their poor financial choices are not your fault or problem. Speaking purely based on you being a separate person. The fact that they expect this from their own child is downright disgusting. I'm so sorry that they are being put through this. Wombat Inferno says, and quotes, their poor financial choices are not your fault or problem. And then says, who the hell takes out a second mortgage just to finance a wedding? They dig themselves into debt for one child and expect the only one that seems to have made something of themselves to dig them out. Not the arsehole, just cut them out completely. SG Doherty says, okay, first off, even if they had gone above and beyond for you in childhood and also paid your way through college, you wouldn't be the arsehole for refusing to give them money. Parents caring for their kids financially is what parents do. It's not something that needs to be made up for once you've grown. If that were the case, then it seems to me your siblings have a lot of paying back to do. You're not the arsehole, and don't let them hound you until you give in, because they'll end up milking you dry and putting you in the same situation as them and your siblings. And once again, I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on the poll in the description. Our next story is from Fallon Rowe. Am I the arsehole for telling my son to toughen up? So my nephew slept over last night for the first time in a while, and they really wanted to watch It. I told them both it was a bad idea, but my nephew's parents said it was fine, and my husband said I coddle our son, so I let them watch it. After the movie, I asked if they really wanted to sleep in their tent outside, and they did. The boys are 13 and 12. Well, I kind of knew that my husband was going to fuck with them, but it seemed like the normal dad thing to do. He had a clown mask from Halloween years ago, and scared the shit out of the kids. I'm a bad mum. I laughed. My nephew got over it in like 5 minutes, but my son wouldn't let it go. Now my husband never admits he's wrong and never apologises, so I apologised just so we could go to bed. Today my son is still sulky, probably because it insulted his masculinity, and 12's a tough age. Well, when he brought it up for the 10th time, I told him life isn't going to be fun if he doesn't learn to laugh at himself and to toughen up. He said we wouldn't tell his 8-year-old sister to toughen up, but I don't think that's true. Still, I kind of feel like the arsehole. And let's jump straight into the comments. Moghetti says, you're the arsehole. You were mean to your kid and now you're angry because he's not thanking you for it. Also, your husband never apologises. That seems like a bigger problem than whatever is going on with your son. Booty Clad Dad, great name, says, you're the arsehole. You feel like an arsehole because you are one. You allowed your husband to take advantage of your son's and nephew's heightened fear from the movie by provoking a seemingly life-threatening reaction for your entertainment. Scaring your child for your entertainment makes you an arsehole. The Lavender Author says, you're the arsehole. You told your son after you were scared badly to toughen up when all he wanted was an apology from his father. Tip Top Philip Flop says, you're the arsehole and I think you know it. They watched a scary movie and felt scared, and instead of calming them or allowing them space, you allowed your husband to scare them even more. This prank would have been funny if it was to adults with a matured emotional brain, but instead it was to children. Your son was scared shitless and all he wanted was an apology or a discussion of his feelings. You and your husband are arseholes. Saying to toughen up is incredibly sexist, and I feel sorry for your son for being reminded he is not allowed to show negative emotions to his parents. Get a grip, apologise, and work on being a better parent. And once again guys, I turn it to you. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on the poll in the description. And a quick story from Interesting Mobile. Would I be the arsehole if I took my 12-year-old son's phone away? I bought my 12-year-old a phone earlier this year. He mainly used it for games, but now he's texting constantly with his friends. Ever since then, he barely talks to me. I just want to talk to him and listen to his stories and see him. If there were no phone, then he would talk to me more, maybe even get a hug or two. The closest I get to him is when he'll lay against me when texting his friends. He'll burst out laughing. When I ask him what's so funny, he'll give me this look of death and say, "Nothing, Dad." Now, I'm going to say instantly, I can totally feel for you that you feel like you're losing your son to a phone and you just want that connection back. But I don't think taking away something he loves is really going to bring him back to you in that way, you know. I'd personally say that the OP has to connect to him on his level. Maybe play some phone games with him or something along those lines, or some sort of computer game that he's into. I'm sure there's loads of stuff that he's into. But let's take a look at the comments below and see what they say. Morgetti again says, "You're the arsehole. You seriously think that your son will want to spend time with you and hug you after you take away something he enjoys? I'm not following their logic. Why not put aside a specific time where you guys are all tech free? Or announce that, say, Wednesdays are tech free days. That seems like a better option." Universal Serial Bus replies, "It's clearly just a dad struggling to come to terms with the fact this kid is now basically a teenager, and that the son he's known up to this point is going to be different from now on. I kind of feel for him. It's pretty sweet in a way. That being said, your option is a great idea." Beberoni says, "You're the arsehole. That's not how you encourage closeness with your child. He'll see it as you punishing him and want to spend time with you even less. On top of all that, the poor kid's 12. He's moody and hormonal and suffering through puberty like the rest of us did. He's literally just being a kid. Let him be, and maybe try to foster a hobby that you can both partake in instead." And for the final time, I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? How do you think the dad should react to this? How should he try to fix the situation, if at all possible? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote for story 5 in the poll in the description. And once again guys, that is it for today's stories. If you did enjoy, please click that like, that subscribe, that notification bell, and maybe support the channel if you really do enjoy it. And also there's another video on your screen right now for you to enjoy if you have time to do so. Once again guys, thank you for being here. The time out of your day means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care now. Much love.